Do you want to take a walk through the olden days and remember the good times? Well, there were certain things about the time that most definitely stood out when we compare them to the present time. Some of them most definitely include the old home features that are perhaps a bit uncommon now, but well, they are nostalgic nonetheless. So what exactly are the old home features that we're talking about here? Let's not waste any time and dive right into a little journey that takes us back in time. First on our list are the Butler bell boards, which were sometimes referred to as a servant bell system and sometimes as Butler bell boards. They basically refer to a row of bells hanging on wall hooks, each labeled with the room it corresponded to so that the staff members knew which room they were being summoned to for assistance. The bells were attached to a pulley system within the walls. In other cases, the bells weren't attached to a pulley system, and instead, different members of staff had a specific bell with a unique tone that they listened for, so they knew if they were being summoned. Unsurprisingly, these were usually found in the butler's pantry. In the modern day, this little room is referred to as a server's pantry or working pantry and is used to store kitchen appliances and prep for parties.
The Ameriglide Express Dumbwaiter makes moving groceries and supplies to your multi-storied house fast and easy.
Second on our list is dumbwaiters, which are kind of like mini elevators. Dumbwaiters were popular contraptions in large vertical homes during the Gilded Age. This made them especially common in elite urban dwellings. One of the main intentions, aside from eliminating the need for running up and down the stairs to get food, was to prevent any major spills caused by mid-delivery collisions between people carrying full trays of meals and beverages. And you might actually think dumbwaiters are pretty neat and are wondering why they're no longer widely used. There are a few reasons for that, such as kitchens and sculleries weren't always right next to the main dining room as they are now. So folks had to travel further between the cooking, prep, and eating zones back then. 2. Dumbwaiters take up a lot of internal wall space that could be otherwise used as a pantry, home bar, appliance garage, and many more such things. Another reason is that most families and homes today aren't run by large staff with designated areas that further enforce class separation and inequity. And lastly, they're expensive to maintain and can be dangerous when not maintained. Hence, dumbwaiters are a popular haunted house narrative device. Third on the list is carriage houses. During the Victorian era and into the early 1900s, pre-automobile industry explosion, the most common mode of short-distance transportation was horse-drawn carriage, while railroad travel reigned supreme for further distances.
Carriages in the Old West. Let's check it out.
Elegant four-wheel carriages were the popular choice for wealthier families. Because people needed a place to safely store their buggies when not in use, they built smaller houses next to their homes. They're like garages for cars, but slightly bigger and often with more elaborate ornamentation. They have large arched doorways that span the entire facade. In cities, these little dwellings typically only had room to store one or two buggies. In many cities today, carriage houses have been converted into double or single-level single-family residences. In the case of the Lemp Mansion, which was the palatial estate of brewery barons, there were also several horse stables and several carriage houses behind the primary structure on the property. Today, they're all gone, and a freeway was built in their place in the mid-20th century. The reality was that those cobblestone roads were full of manure. Number 4 on the list are boot scrapers. Remember all that dung we just mentioned? Well, there had to be somewhere for people to wipe their shoes so they wouldn't track the manure throughout the home. That was when boot scrapers came to the rescue. These little iron contraptions were built into the steps of the front or back porch before the door entrance. They could also be built into the exterior facade of the door, to the left or right of it. Number 5 on the list are the staff stairwell and the grand staircase. If you've ever noticed a second staircase leading to and from the pantry or kitchen and you live in an old home, chances are they were servant stairs. These were built as a solution to keeping household staff out of sight, especially while guests were over. They're often much more cramped and steep so that they could fit within an enclosed area. Conversely, the same home may have featured another set of stairs that is much more elaborate, especially by the entryway for a grand first impression. Bifurcated staircases were popular in homes that did a lot of entertaining, as they made for dramatic presentation stages. More frequently, you'd see winding stairs with graceful curves that made it easier for aging people to climb, as opposed to the knee-bending angle of their steep, straight predecessors. They were also often wide enough for women's fashionable and extravagant hoop skirts. Number 6 on the list are peepholes. Versions of peepholes have been around for centuries, but they were extra popular by the 20th century. They allow the person inside the home to look out and see who's visiting.
I can see inside the room. I can see the desk, I can see my chair, I can see all of my luggage.
Both facilitating fuller conversations and providing some security. Later, they became more like little fisheyes on doors so you could see who rang. And today, though some homes still have them, we've mostly traded up for a digital camera that enhances safety, which are technically advanced and much better than the peepholes, but there is nothing that can truly replace the nostalgia that comes from peepholes. Number 7 on the list are root cellars and ice doors. From a contemporary standpoint, by far the strangest thing about the Lemp Mansion is the underground tunnel system in the caves beneath the property. But, in the mid-1800s, they were actually a huge luxury, as they were used as a natural refrigeration source. Most people didn't have quite as elaborate a setup and were in need of an alternative way to store their perishables. Ergo, they installed ice stores to accommodate ice deliveries. In the late 18th and mid-19th centuries, someone would deliver the ice, much like the milkman would deliver dairy, and drop the ice near the side pantry where an icebox was stored. Needless to say, they did in fact were kind of a status symbol in those times. Number 8 on our list are telephone books. If you live in a home or apartment from the Gilded Age and beyond, you may have noticed a little niche on the wall, usually in a hallway. When telephone communication reigned supreme, houses had a designated area for one landline telephone. Since it was the primary form of communication, there was a little built-in niche for the phone, sometimes with a small shelf or desk nearby to take messages. Those were the days of great nostalgia, back when everything used to be relatively simple. And lastly, number 9 are laundry chutes. Laundry chutes have been around for a long time, and though still popular in homes where the laundry room is in the basement of a tall home, their origin story appears to be a bit more complicated. Again, more common in fancy Victorian homes, laundry chutes were symbolic of good hygiene and, not to forget, a moral statement in some crowds, as they helped sort soiled linens of healthy folks from those of sick folks. Another old laundry room relic? Water wringers. Before fancy washing machines or even indoor plumbing was invented, staff would have to fetch pails of water and hand wash everything before drying and ironing it all. But coming back to the laundry chutes, rumor has it they were also a good spying mechanism, as you could hear the echoes of the rooms below and above. As thrilling as that sounds, this special feature isn't necessarily true, but oh well, rumors fly. If you liked this little journey through the bounds of time and found this video informative, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on any of our content.